Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Trust everybody's doing well. So, as always, welcome. This is our product deep dive call. We have this on the third Saturday of each month, where we get our practitioners come in, we get to meet them, and then they share a deep dive about the product and then provide us with a demo. The hands-on for us to actually see how this product works, and then we get acquainted with it. We also have a monthly support call where we, get to meet our practitioners and then they provide us advice. That's the first Saturday of the month. This one that we're having today is the third Saturday where we do a much more in-depth analysis of the product. So we do have our practitioner coming to share with us today. We do have Luashe Agbola. He's going to share with us about the strategic portfolio management product.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, apologize. For some reason, the internet went bad before, so that was kind of like why I dropped off. Once again, welcome to our monthly session. It's our product deep dive. We do have this on the third Saturday of each month. We bring our practitioner, they give us a demo on the product. We also have one that we have, which is about the first Saturday of the month. That's more like, the meet and greet, and then give us tips and tricks about, their career journeys, which we have the first Saturday of each month. So today we have Shei talk about the Agile Development application, which is part of the strategic portfolio management, or IT, or information technology business management application suite. So Shei, the floor is yours. Go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
Hi. Good morning, everybody. My guy said my name. I'll just reiterate that again. My name is Luashe Agbola, and have been in the IT space like a year now. So I can see some of my guys on display. So I'll try not to be scared. All right. I'll go ahead and share my screen. So I'll show us what I have for everybody. Please let me know if you can see my screen. You can just do a thumbs up.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, okay, thank you. All right. So, like I said, my name is Shay, and I'm an ITSM developer. I'll be talking on the product Agile Development 2.0 in ServiceNow. And like Emeka said, this is one of the products in the ITBM module, the SPM. We call it SPM, which is the Strategic Portfolio Management. And one of the products that we have in it is the Agile Development module. And when we're talking about Agile, if we could just check our dictionary, we'll see that agile in just in an an English word for it is called when you're able to move quickly and easily. That is just a short definition of agile. When you're able to move quickly and you're able to move what easily. So, and when we add the word development in it, development is when you're trying to build something. So while we are building something, we want to be able to move easily and we want to move quickly. And how do we do this? That is when the combination of agile development comes, that we want to build something and we want to do it in a very easy and seamless way to satisfy our stakeholders. And what is agile? Agile is an iterative approach to project management and software development that helps teams deliver value to their customer faster and with fewer headaches. In another form, we can also say instead of betting everything on the big backlog, an agile team deliver works in a small but consumable increment. Now, when we're talking about agile is something that is like a flexible approach to project management. Let's say, for instance, we want to build a house. That is a project. Building a house is a project. So when we want to be agile about this, we have to break down this project into smaller pieces. And these smaller pieces, we assign it to different development team. Maybe it's the bricklayers, the electricians, maybe it's those people that are gonna dig the foundation, the carpenters, those that are gonna furnish it and everything like that. These are teams. So we will break this work down into smaller sections, which is called epic, and we will assign these stories under this epic into individual teams. And these individual teams are going to start in on their respective work, on their respective tasks. Uh, we have some type of people that whenever they do a project, it's completed. That is when they release it. But when it comes to agile is more flexible. It kind of encourage visibility to the stakeholders because throughout this project management life cycle, you will be having conversations with the stakeholders, and the stakeholders will be able to see how everything is been going. Let's look at the key aspect of agile. One of the key aspects of agile is iterative process. Like I said earlier, agile gives you the ability to do what to break works down into smaller pieces and you to do them and complete it and you show it to the customer. So work is divided into short cycles and this cycle we call it sprint. Typically, most of the companies I have worked with, most of them have a 2 week sprint, but you can have some instances whereby some group or some team normally goes like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, depending on the complexity of that project. And sometimes when you have 4 weeks or 3 weeks like that, maybe it's at the phase of uh, when you're about to start a project. Sometimes you can have 3 weeks or 4 weeks of sprint. Then going forward, you can have the 2 week sprint. One of the aspects of Agile as well is the incremental delivery. When we're talking about incremental delivery, this is when a sprint is being completed and the work done is being showcased to the stakeholders, which are the customer that we are working for, or you can say a product owner. And whenever this work is done and accepted, they can kind of just push it or add it to a release ticket that this work has been done, and it has been added to test, and it has been what shown to the stakeholders. Adaptability as well. Plans and requirements can be adjusted based on feedbacks and changing needs. In the process of showcasing your work to the stakeholders, like during the sprint review, the stakeholders can say something and like, can we have this tweaked like this, or can we add this to this? Then this is a feedback. And when you are in an agile team, you you do what? You take the feedback, and probably in the upcoming sprint, you had that feedback to the sprint, and you will be able to do what to accommodate that change that the stakeholder has mentioned. Customer collaboration is also the same thing. Like we have said, you have to interact with the stakeholders all the time throughout the development process. You interact with the stakeholders. You show them, they tell you if they like it, they'll tell you if they want some changes, they tell you if they want to add some things in what you have built or developed. Continuous improvement as well, because at the end of every sprint, there's always a kind of a sprint retrospective. Um, Most of the time, the Scrum Master conduct this, and this is always within just an internal team. The stakeholders are not involved, and this is where you will say the things that went well during the sprint, some action items like what are the learning points, what are the things that you want to see improvement on. And if you have any questions in this meeting, this is where you can put everything out. And whatever you have an issue with during the sprint, and these issues can be addressed so that further sprint will be better than the current one or the past sprint. We have different and a lot of agile methodologies, but these are one of the most common used one, which is Scrum, Kanban, or Safe. But we have a lot, a lot, a lot. But based on what we are talking about today, which is the Agile Development 2.0 in ServiceNow, which is more of the Scrum method. So we will be doing more of the Scrum method today. Please, in case you have any questions, please, you can go ahead and stop me, then I can answer your question. Or probably you wait till the Q&A session, and I'll be able to answer your questions. Let's talk about the basic of Agile. One of the basic, or some of the basic of Agile are products, team, epic, stories. I only have few to the slide. We also have the Agile group. We have the backlogs. We have Scrum tags, and we have some other few stuff too. We have sprint backlog, and all things like that. But just to mention a few, uh, I'm going to use Employee Portal as an example just for this explanation, so we'll have a kind of a clear understanding of this basic of Agile. Let's say, for instance, our product owner comes and say, okay, we have a project at hand, and the project is to build what? An employee portal for a customer. Now, employee portal, that is the product. So that is what we are trying to do, what to release in the market. Now, under the product, we have a team. You can have different teams under a product depending on your BRD, that is business requirement document. You can have different kind of team, but for this one, I just added a team which is called catalog management. You can also have another team that is called maybe like employee profile. Then under each team, you will have what is called an epic. And what do we understand by epic? Epic is just a or just like a high definition of a requirement. And epic kind of focuses more on the business value. And under this epic is when we have what our stories which support that epic. Now, the epic we have here right now is HR onboarding catalog. So we want to build a catalog item that is what to onboard employees for HR. Now, under this HR onboarding catalog item that we want to build, then we would develop stories that surround building that onboarding catalog item. We can have different kind of stories like, okay, we want to have a kind of a page whereby when the end user open the portal, this is the page they will see when they click on that catalog item. This is the page we want them to see. We want to see a link that kind of pop-ups and collect the information of that employee, or whatever customization you want to have. You will create different stories to do what? To complete this catalog item. And that is when your stories are going to do what? Are going to support that epic. I'll talk about the Scrum activities on Agile 2.0. Whenever you are in a Agile team, these are one of the things you will always come across. And when we are talking about one of them, I'll start with sprint planning. This is the first stage. Whenever a project is at hand, you have to plan on how to do this project. You need to identify the dependencies. You need to know what are the things you're going to need to complete this project. All sort of things, all that discussion will take place during this what? During the sprint planning. And during that sprint planning, you can have that kind of 3 or 4 weeks sprint that I said earlier. And you identify all the things that need to be done, and different people will begin to like, okay, if we need to reach out to this department, we need to do some integration, we need to collect some data from any other department. Everything will be discussed during, and everything will be what completed during the sprint planning. We also have daily stand-ups. This daily stand-up is just like a short meeting, like 10 to 15 minutes. But sometimes you can see some teams go 30 minutes, 1 hour, depending on that team, because you have some people they just want to talk, 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 talk. So, but just on best practices, daily stand-up should not exceed a 15 minutes meeting. And during this meeting, all you just have to do is to discuss what was done yesterday, what you're planning to do today, and if you have any blockers. That is the 3 keywords that you need in the daily stand-up meeting. And if you have any blockers, and that is when the Scrum Master comes in to help you to do it, to remove any blockers that might be standing as our hindrance or barrier to you completing your story. And after that, we also have what is called sprint review. Sprint review is when you come after a sprint is being completed, or at the end of that sprint, then the developers come together to showcase what they have done, just like a demo, to the customer or the stakeholder, so that the stakeholder could see what was done in the sprint, and they will see if they're going to accept the work done or not. And this is when feedback can also comes in case they need to see some changes in the work that has been done by the developers, or they need to add some things to it. This is when the sprint review what comes in. You review all the work that has been done. You review it to the stakeholder. The sprint retrospective, which I explained earlier, this is just a meeting to discuss what went well, your wins, your any questions, or what can be improved on. This is the meeting that the internal team come together to discuss this. so that they can have what? A more better sprint in the future. We also have what is called backlog refinement. Backlog refinement is just a meeting whereby the BA, the Scrum Master, the developers, they come together to refine the backlogs and to add stories to the coming sprint. So let's say we are currently in sprint 5, and sprint 5 is going to end. We need to plan ahead for sprint 6. So what are the stories that we need to put in sprint 6? We need to do what? We need to identify them. And that is when the backlog refinement comes in. And during that meeting, you can also get clarification on stories that will be going into the next sprint. The relationship between epic, release, sprint, and team is not really that much. They are just I call them dependencies. Just like let's use our lineage. You have great grandfather, you have grandfather, you have father, then before it comes to you. So this is just the way this hierarchy is. Teams just provide a strategic direction, and epics break that team into manageable works. So team is a broader view of a goal, and epic is going to help you to break that goal down into manageable work. And when that epic has been stated or created, then under those epic you have user stories, which break what epics into sprint. User story breaks epic into sprint. So when you have some stories under, you have like 20 stories under one epic, and the team capacity might not be that much, and during that sprint you can only accommodate like 5 or 6 stories. You add that stories into one sprint. That epic is not yet completed because we have more than 5 or 6 stories in that epic. So epic just break down the team, and the story kind of encapsulates epics. Release also is a group of work completed for deployment. Let's say, for instance, the stories that we've completed in those epic, we have completed some works, like some work is already completed. Or let's say, for instance, we have like 5 type of releases. Let me use an application called bed request system. Let's say for this bed request system, we have 2 releases. Number 1, we want to release first single bed request. So this request is going to be whereby end user coming into our employee portal, they submit a single bed request just for one person. So that is the first release that we want to have. And we can have another release that says bulk bed request. So for every release, you have a start time and a end time. Now, we have said we want to release the single bed request first. So all the stories that are attached to the bulk bed request will go under the bulk bed request. So that means to tell us that any story that is pertaining to the bulk bed request, we don't need to do what to put it in the sprint of the first or the single bed request. So this is also going to help to make sure that you are not working on something that is not needed in that release. So by doing that, you have a planned work for each of your releases. So based on this PowerPoint, do we have any questions before we go to the demo side?
Yeah, Ken put a question in the chat. He wants to know whether the business analyst, the BA, attends all the Scrum ceremonies, the Scrum activities. He wants to know.
Oh, yes, yes. As a business analyst, uh, you are just like an intermediary of knowledge to the developer and the stakeholders. The backlog refinement is the work of the BA because the BA is going to be the one to refine the backlogs to know which of the stories we're gonna push to the next sprint. And the reason why this is needed is because let's say for instance I want to build a duplex. Now the first stage is to get the land, is to get people to kind of do the foundation, do the concrete, then start building up the blocks. Now, I have all the stories in my backlogs till the end of what? Of the building. Now, I cannot take a story whereby the painter is coming to do what? To paint the house and put it in my first or second sprint because that story is not yet needed. So we need to identify dependencies in stories. So that is why BA will always be present in all this meeting. The BAs are always present in the daily stand-up just to talk about okay what they are doing, what they've done yesterday, and if they have any kind of blockers. They also say that too. In the sprint review, the BA is always present because sometimes in the sprint review, you also get some clarification from stakeholders, and the BA needs to take that note so that they can use it to do what? To refine the backlogs. The retrospective meeting as well, the BA also needs to be present because they can also have things that they are kind of experiencing that they want to discuss, or they have a blocker that they want to kind of resolve within the team. Or let's say for instance, you have a developer coming all the time on the maybe on the Teams chat to tell the BA that the BA is not writing a good story, try to know the system, try to do this, try to do that. I'll give you an instance. I'm currently on a project whereby the BA, they are not ServiceNow business analysts. They are just BA. So I do not expect them to know much about ServiceNow. But we have a developer that will always come and tell the BA needs to know the system. Their story are vague. Their stories is not clear enough. They need to understand ServiceNow. So that BA kind of made mention of that in the retrospective meeting, that we do not have this technical knowledge. So anything we write, it is your what? It is in your own interest, or probably your own prerogative to like, okay, hey, can you explain more on this story? Or probably let's have a conversation. Then I'll try to explain my point. Then based on the technical knowledge that you have, you can do what? Bring more understanding into that stories. So that is one of the importance of the BAs. Is there was I able to answer your question, or you have any further questions, like a follow-up one?
Oh, that was perfect. So the thing is this, Ken, the short answer is yes. That's exactly what. But he gave you with use cases examples. Um, Everyone is an analyst, right? First and foremost, the whole idea is to be in alignment with your customer. And then what you need to remember for any development team or Scrum team, whether you're building products or you're doing projects, is it's all about collaboration. It's all about communication within the different stakeholders within that team. So if you remember the RACI chart, right? Responsibility metrics, RACI. So some are responsible, some are accountable, some are consulted, some are, it breaks down each stakeholder's own tasks to do. But in development team, right, there's what we call osmotic communication, which you're there for FYI, but being there so that you can share your experience, 2 cents from before, because maybe you have been a part of different Scrum organizations. You're coming with your whole self, so you should be able to share. Maybe if it's something that has happened before. Um, um, Shay gave a use case that the BA is a BA, right? They don't know ServiceNow lingo or jargon, but the idea is this: you as the technical folks should be able to help them refine that. That's part of that communication sessions where during sprint planning or during that review or retrospective, you're able to get that or jot that so that you can bring it up to help to continue to improve the team. Um, to get to that high performing team. But that's the key. You're listening, the BA, how much are you presenting during the daily stand-up? Not so much, because except they need you to come and explain or clarify stuff. But yours is more of, you need to be there, you're an integral part of the team. If you need to provide clearance or clarity to a story, or if you need to, if they give you also feedback that you have to, take back to the product owner or the stakeholder. But that's the key there. But that's the whole key there. But great question. I'm loving it. Great question. I'm loving it. But yeah, Shay, over to you to take us through the demo. But no other questions yet in the chat. But great stuff. Great stuff. I love it.
Okay, all right. So we'll go into the demo now in our developer instance. So, like I said, Agile Development 2.0 doesn't just come out of the box. It's a it's it, it's like a paid module in ServiceNow. So you have to be the one to do it, to download the plugins. Now, for you to navigate to the plugin to get the Agile 2.0, you have to go to your navigation pane under All, just type in plugins and search for Agile Development 2.0. You see different ones. Uh,
Yeah, you can search
it's
for
because
inside
it's
of.
installed.
Okay, you've installed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it's because it's installed. That's the reason why you won't see it under the available for you, but you see it under the installed. But in case you haven't installed it, you will see it under this available for you, and you will see the Agile Development 2.0 over here. So because I've installed it, so I have it here. This is the plugin. And in case you don't search with the name, you can also search with the system name as well, which is this, the plugin ID.
Awesome
You
stuff.
can also search with that.
Just as an FYI, sorry to cut you, Shay. Just as an FYI, the PDI is a personal development instance, so it's a sandbox for you to go and break and fix stuff. So just as an FYI, it's the same environment like you will have once you start working. So you want to go in, it's free, so that you go and experience this, engage with this tool, so that you're kind of like prepared for work. Go in there, create it, developer.servicenow.com. It's free. Go there, sign up, just like you create an email, and then go ahead and engage with the tool, engage with it. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And also, I also have that those links in the references on the PDF or on the PowerPoint. So in case you need a personal developer instance, the link is embedded here. And we also have what is called Now Create. It's just another platform from ServiceNow that you can use to get use cases like a success pack, and that can also help you out in your career journey. We also have the product documentation. If you want to know about anything about any product and service now, this is the best place for you to go to. If you want to learn anything, this is the best place for you to go to, because they're going to guide you step by step for you to do what, for you to complete what you're trying to do. So, as we were saying, in the Agile Development 2.0, if you don't have it, this place you will have install, and you will click on the install, and the plugin is going to install in your on your PDI. The reason why I installed it beforehand is because sometimes the installation takes a bit of time, which I don't want to waste our time. Let's say when you installed, you forgot to load demo data. Demo data are just like like an example records that will come with the module. And let's say you forgot to load that demo data and you want to kind of load it, you can just come to this quick actions and click on load demo data, and it's going to load the demo data for you. Or let's say something is wrong or you don't see what you're supposed to see, you can also repair the plugin by clicking on this repair, and the plugin is going to reinstall afresh. So once you install the plugin and the plugin is installed, you can just go ahead and refresh your browser. And once you come to Hall over here and you type Agile, you'll be able to see uh, the Agile module on your navigation pane. So this Agile module, these are everything that comes with it. We can see the guided setup. If you want to follow the guided setup, you can use that. So it's going to tell you the things to do, and we'll play that in a short while. This getting started as well is a product documentation that if you click it, it's going to take you to the product documentation of that module, and you can read about it and get more understanding about that particular module. We have the Agile board, we have the personal bags, we have the product, we have groups. You can create an Agile group over here. We also have release, teams, epic, stories, enhancement, and defect. I know we talked about some of these, and we didn't talk about defect or we didn't talk about enhancement. I'll just quickly give a brief explanation about these two. Enhancement is just where you're trying to improve on the particular product. Let's say, for instance, this is my PDI. And let's say I want to add another, let's say I want to add something over here that is going to, let's say I want to do an integration that has teams, that whenever I just click on these teams, and I can chat with whoever I want to chat with directly from ServiceNow. So that is what is called product enhancement. I want a new feature in this product. So I can go ahead and create an enhancement story. We already have the product. The product is already in the system. The product is already outside. It's already in the market. We just want to do something to enhance it. It's just like the way our iPhone releases a new operating system, or your Android phone, they release new operating system with new features. That is called enhancement. Now, for the defect is just a problem, a bug. When a product is being released and you realize that something is not working right, when you click on the login, it's supposed to do what? To land you to the home screen of a particular URL. But whenever you log in, it's taking you to the what? To the user profile. That is a defect because it is not acting the way it's supposed to act. So you can come here and you can create a defect ticket. And when you create that, they can assign it to a sprint, and the developers will do what? Will try to fix the bug. This create agile group is you creating different kind of group. Just like I said, if you want to build a house, you have different vendors that you're going to be working with. You work with bricklayers, you work with plumbers, you work with electricians, you work with carpenters. You can create a group for all those people and you will add members to that group. This is just show you the list of all the groups that you have in your Agile. And this is product. Now, I'll click on this guided setup. So this is the guided setup page. And once you click on this get started, these are the list of the things of like a task that needs to be completed. Now we have our first task, which says a Scrum team. A Scrum team is an autonomous cross-functional team in which members possessing different skills set work in collaboration to attain work goals. So this Scrum team is the same thing of the Agile group I mentioned earlier, that we need to create different group name, the bricklayers, the carpenters, the electricians. We need to create that group. That is what we are calling the Scrum team. And for the product as well, we want a new product. That is what? Building a duplex. That is the name of our product. And from the point, I put employee portal. That is the name of our product. We want to build an employee portal. That is just a one single word of the product. Then when we now begin to deep dive into them, then we begin to now see more about this product. And releases, which I mentioned earlier, we can have different kind of releases, and we can have media. You can have first batch, second batch, third batch to your final release, depending on how you want it. So we can have different releases. So once you click on this get started, it's going to give you some kind of steps to follow, and you can follow those steps. Look at them, go here, go to create Agile group and everything, and that step is going to help you. And once you're done, you can just come here and click mark as complete. But we are not going to go through the steps. I'll just give us a kind of a high level overview of the whole module itself. So for the purpose of this training, I have created some users and I kind of just named them Scrum user, Scrum team member, Scrum master, and product owner. We know the product owner is the one who's going to create the product, who's going to release the backlog, and the Scrum master will be the one to manage everything that is what in respect to that product. And we also have Scrum team members, which are the members that needs to do what to develop this product. And we have Scrum users. Users are just the ones that just want to see. They don't have anything to do. They just want to see. So these people, they can come in, see everything, but they cannot modify or create anything. They only have read access only. And we know when it comes to ServiceNow is so good that you can grant permission to whoever and whatever you want them to see or to do using the what ACL, access control list, and you had roles. So based on all these people now, what I'm going to do now, I have no role added to this Scrum user. Because I'm the system administrator, that's the reason why I can see these Agile modules, these Agile features over here. Is because I'm the admin, that's why I can see it. I'll go ahead and impersonate a Scrum user. And if I search for Agile, I won't be able to see that Agile module because of what? That particular user doesn't have the particular role or the required role to access this application. That's the reason why they can see it. So I'll hand impersonation. And one of the good things is that whenever you create an Agile group, so I'll go ahead and create an Agile group now, and I'll just give it Agile read-only user. So this is a group, this is an Agile team group I am creating. And this group, I just want to make sure that what they can just see. For instance, your stakeholders, you can grant them what, or you can add them to this group so that all they can just do is just come to the Agile Development module and see everything that is being done. Will they be able to add any comment or anything? No. The only thing they have access to is just to do what? Just to read. Now, I have created this group. I need to add group members. I'm going to add a Scrum user. Now, when I created this group, oh, maybe because I've done something else, so it's not really showing it again. When I created the group, automatically, when you create a group, it's going to assign the Scrum user role to this group. Let me go show us. We have different roles. So this is the role we are trying to add. So this is the role we are trying to add to that group. And automatically it had it uh, to that group whenever you create it. So I'll go ahead and create another one so that I can just show us. Now I'll create a group for our development team, which is the Scrum team. Let's call them Agile Developers. So this is what I am saying. Scrum users role has been added to uh, this group. The Scrum user role has been added to this group. So that comes automatically for every group that you create, because that is just the basic role, which is just going to give you the read access only. Now, I'll go back again and impersonate the Scrum user. Then I'll go back to my hall. Then if I type Agile now, I will be able to see the Agile application module because of what? The user has been granted that role, which is what? Scrum underscore user, which is just the read access only role. Now, if I click on product, let's say I click on any of those products, I will see that they do not have access to do what? To edit anything. All they can just do is just to do what? Is just to read. They can go there, read everything, look at everything that they are doing. This is Epic. Once they click on the Epic as well, they can see, but they won't be able to do what? They won't be able to do anything. So that is just the role that we've added to that group. So I'll go ahead and create the rest of the group. I'll create the Scrum Master group as well. Agile Scrum Master. We can see that that role is being added to the same group that has been created. The product owner. So that has been added as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to groups because we can add the role to that group. And we know that according to our ServiceNow best practices, you do not assign roles to users directly. You need to assign that roles to a group and you assign users to that group. Now, for our developers, we're going to assign them okay, you can say that we have the automatic role, which is the Scrum user. So we need to assign them to the Scrum team member. And all these roles, they have what they can see, what they can edit, and what they can create. And that is one of the good things about it here. Your Scrum team member, which are your developers, they cannot create products. It's what? Stories. The product owner as well. And the team Scrum Master. Let me assign them Scrum Master. So now we have added some roles to all these groups. So I'll go ahead and impersonate a Scrum team member. Have we added a member to that? Okay, so let's add a member, which is a Scrum team member. So these are the list of users that will be part of this group. And for the Scrum Master, let's add our Scrum Master user. Product owner, let's also add our product owner user. Now, so I'll quickly impersonate the Scrum team member. Then we should see that the Scrum team member is also able to do it, to see the Agile application module, because they also have that Scrum underscore user, which is the list row that is needed for you to see this module. But what I just want us to see in this Scrum team member, which is going to be the developer, is that when we click on this product, we can see that we can see the new button. So team members, our Scrum team members cannot create a product. The only person who has the ability to create a product is the product owner. So if I go ahead and impersonate the product owner now, then we will see that the product owner will be able to do what? to create new products. So all these are possible because of the what? The access control that has been put in place in this application. So we don't even need to do what? To start any kind of manual customization. So I'll just go ahead and create a product. We'll call it employee portal. Short description, I'll just name it the same thing. And product owner, I just use the name too, product owner. Now, we have created a new product, which is what's called employee portal. Now, we're talking about dependency. So under this product, we have release, we have team, we have epic, we have stories, and we have groups. Now, on this product, you can add the groups that will be working to support this particular product. So I'll go ahead and add all our teams that we've created and Scrum Master. So that means on this particular product, the only people that can work on this product will only be the members that are assigned to all these groups that we have here. We can see that we don't have any stories here. We don't have any epic created. We don't have any team. We don't have any releases. Now, let's say, for instance, we want to have 2 releases. We'll just come to new here. And like I said earlier, for every release, you must have a start date and an end date. Let's say our first release, we want to make it just like a period of 3 months or 4 months, starting from today, July, August, September, October, November. So during this time period is when we want to have our first release. Now, we'll also define our release capacity. For instance, let me just say 200 hours. Capacity can be anything depending on the team. But I'll just put the capacity in what? In hours. Then I can call this our first release. So our first release. I'll go ahead and create the second one, which is going to be our final release. So we know that the first release is going to end October 30th. So we can start our next release in 1st of December, and we want to give it maybe like 6 months. For our second, which is the final what? The final release. Then we'll go ahead and also define the capacity. Let's say 350 in hours. So the releases as what has been defined. If you click on the first release, we'll see another word, dependency. We can see that we have product here, which is the name of the product which we are trying to work on. Stories, we don't have anything on the stories. And under group, we already added this group. And if this group has not been added earlier, which I did before, if I had not done it before, I want us to notice something, that the product owner cannot add a group to this. The product owner cannot what? Cannot add a group. So it is the Scrum Master that will add a group to any product. So I'll go ahead and stop impersonating the product owner. I'll impersonate the Scrum Master back. We'll also see that the Scrum Master will not have the ability to do what? To create a product. So we can't say the new button over here because the Scrum Master cannot do what? Cannot create a product. You can see they can only read the products. They cannot make any edits. But when I click on this group, they have the ability to do what? To add group. Because the Scrum Master is the person who is going to do what? Who is going to facilitate and handles most of all the things that will happen under this product. So let's go ahead and create our epic. And under this release, we have stories as we're here, but we don't have any stories now. For the story, let me see if I can copy that now, create. So this is the now create I was talking about earlier, that you can download stories and you can just load those stories into your PDI. I just hope this doesn't take time. Sorry, please hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to get the verification code. It's going to be 989326. So so you can just click on the success pack, or you can just type stories. So you can download any stories that you want, and you just go ahead and load it into your personal PDI. Let me see if we can have any kind of employee border kind of a thing.
Yeah, in the HR product, it should be, some of them there, or in the customer service, we should have some of that.
Yeah. Okay, so employees starter. I'll just go ahead and download this. So this has been downloaded. So we are not going to create our stories manually. So I'll just take us through the process of importing the stories through load data. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're not signed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So you can see what happened now. Because the Scrum Master doesn't have some roles, they are limited to the things they can do on the platform. So I'll go ahead now and load data. So if it's going to be your first time of loading data into Agile, probably you might need to create a table. But I have a table created already, so I'm just going to select an existing table. Then you choose your file. So the file you're choosing is going to be the new story that you downloaded from your now create, which is in an Excel format. So this is also just going to tell you the process of you loading the data, and this is the story itself. So what I normally just do, I'll delete this first sheet over here, so I can just have only one sheet. So once that is done, you go ahead, you choose the story that you want to import, and you click on submit. So it has been imported. So the next thing you're going to do is to do what? Is to create a transform map. You can give it any name of your choice, and you will select the target table, like what you're trying to import into ServiceNow. Where do you want to import it? If it is like on the incident table or the user record table, you're trying to import any data from outside source, you just have to go select the target table you're trying to import those data into. And where we're trying to import our own stories to is on the table, which is the Agile story. Which is the Agile story. Then I'll just save it. You can use mapping assist. You can use auto map just to match the fields automatically. But if your Excel does have some kind of fields that is not same with the system fields, then probably you might be needing mapping assist so that you can just manually map those fields to the corresponding ones. So if we see now, I use the auto map matching fields. This is the target field on the ServiceNow table. We have the product, and this is the one that is coming from the Excel. So you just make sure you verify that everything is on the right field, so that you don't have wrong information on the field. Then once this is done, I'll just click on transform. And let's say, for instance, I have product here, I have team here, and on the target field, I have team here and I have product here. This is where you just come to mapping assist. Then you just do just change them and just make sure that your field maps tallies with your map field. This target story over here on the right side is the fields of the ServiceNow table that you're trying to import into. And this is the Agile Development table that you've created to import your Excel on. So just because everything is fine, I'll just save it. Then I'll click on transform. So I've been using this before, so I'll just take this off. And this is the new one I just created now. I'll put it in the on the right side, and I'll click on transform. So when you click on transform, so this is the process whereby all the data from the Excel sheet will be transformed on the story table in Agile. Now, if I go to stories, I'll say that all the stories have been imported into into the story field, into the story table. So these are all the stories I just imported. See the date, 2024 July 20th. For instance, I'll open one so that we can see how a story looks like. The short description says Employee Center topic AI search. This is the description. As the Employee Center administrator, I would like to enable topic page AI search so that employee can be provided curated experience on specific topic pages. And we also have acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria is just like a testing cases, whereby if you're done developing, you will look at those acceptance criteria and see if all the acceptance criteria has been met. One by one, Look at it. Show relevant topic result at the top of the list. Look at what you develop and see, does this relevant topics, is it showing at the top of the list? Once you say that it is what it is showing, then you tick that and it's okay, that acceptance criteria has been met. And your QAs also, most of the time, they provide test cases and they add it to the acceptance criteria if they say that there are still some other ways they could also do those testing. Now, we say that we have a product here that is called Employee Center. So I'm not sure if this was the one that came with the story, but I'm going to add my own, which is the one that we created, which is the employee portal. I believe it's the employee portal that we created. So if we go ahead and save this, I'm not going to add any release or anything to it. If I go back to our product, if I go back to the product and click on this employee center, we'll see that we have one story. And this is the story because I have added that story to that product. Now, we'll go ahead and create a new epic. Let's say my epic is going to be catalog item. No, let me put it as IT catalog item. Now, this IT catalog item, we know we have different kind of catalog items under that can be associated with IT catalog item. We can have our laptop request, we can have our software access, we can have mobile phone, anything that has to do with IT, we can have that. So that is Epic. And under Epic, then we'll now begin to do what? Sorry, IT catalog item. Okay. Then I need to go create a team. So the team is just going to be catalog management. So that is our first epic. I'll create another epic. Like I said, we can have multiple epics. We can have multiple teams. And for this new epic, I'll say HR catalog item. Then we submit. Now, all those processes are still process of planning a project. The team won't have anything to do in all these things that we are doing because nothing has been assigned. The sprint hasn't started yet. So these are just the preliminary stages of a project whereby the product owner, the scrum master, the BA, they get together, they identify stuff, and they try to make sure they put enough thing into into that project just to make sure that there's a meaningful way and they have a goal. So if I create a team now under this project, I'll call the team catalog management. And under the catalog management is where we now have different kind of catalog. We have under this, so let me go add this to a team. Let me add it under this. So this is the team we added. Then we're supposed to create, that epic under this team. So it's going to be attached to that team. So I'll just go ahead and recreate this IT catalog item. Then I'll create a new one, HR catalog item. We'll update it. So we have two epics right now. So I'll just take off the first one that we created. How do I know now? Okay, so when we click on our theme, we will see our epic. And under the epic, we should be able to see what? See stories. We can also create a child epic if we want. And we can also add what? Stories to it. We can create stories. So I will go back to our story and change those stories to the epic we just created so that we can have what? We can have it under our epic. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show matching.
Yeah, they're still having the old name. So
Yeah, because we still have
employee
the
center, yeah. So you
employee
can change
center.
that person.
So now these are all the stories we have here. So I'll just go ahead and add some of them into the epic that we have. Let me open the story and let me change this epic. Okay, employee portal. Then we should have our epic showing up now. So once I save this, oh, this is the release, then the epic should show up here. So we have our epics now showing up. So we can assign this to the catalog, the IT catalog item. I'm not going to assign a story point yet. We'll do that later. Now click on update. So I'm just going to do a quick one and I'm going to change everything to employee portal. Then I'm going to change few of these to then we'll put them in. To IT catalog item.
Yeah, your share is stopped, just in case. You just stopped now.
Oh, my sharing stopped.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Can you see my screen back?
Yeah, we can. So you have
Oh,
to
okay, yeah. Sorry. So now we have all the stories changed to our product, which is the product we created. And we also have some of them to be our catalog items. So I'll also change this one to go under our HR catalog item. All right. So that's just going to be the few ones I'm going to do. And so if we go back to our product, employee portal, we have our release. We can see that we have we only have one story in this release because I've added that in the story. So if we go under this epic, the first epic, which is the IT catalog item, we'll see that we have a quite numbers of stories under it. So these are the stories that we need to complete in that epic.
Yeah.
If we go back to the second epic, we'll also see all the stories that we need to complete to do what? To complete that HR catalog item. So I'll go ahead and impersonate what's it called? Now the Scrum Master back. But before I do that, let me just make sure the stories, we have them assigned to a release. So anything that has to do with HR catalog item, we want to put it in the second release. Oh, did I choose first again? Okay, so let's just put HR1 on the first one then. Then we change the IT catalog to the final release. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and impersonate the Scrum Master, because the Scrum Master is going to be the one who's going to do most of the work. Now, during this time now, we already have our sprint planning and all the things that need to be discussed as what has been discussed. We've already identified all our dependencies, and we know that, okay, we need to now start creating sprint. Now, as a Scrum Master, the Scrum Master goes to the product to look at everything. Okay, this is the first thing we want to release. So what are the things we have under the first release? Then the Scrum Master look at all the stories. Then he knows that, well, this is the first thing we need to prioritize and make sure we get into what? Into sprint. The Scrum Master will be able to see all the groups that is needed and the products as well. They can check the final release, look at all the stories, look at all the stories that need to be completed for the final release. Now, as a Scrum Master, as a Scrum Master, you can go to group and you can create sprints from the group, or you can create it from the what? From the Agile board. Now, as the product owner, you can create a sprint here, and we can call it sprint planning, or don't let me call it a sprint planning, product discussion. starting from number, and the start date is going to be today. And like I said earlier, most of the common Scrum week, like a sprint week, is always 2 weeks, which is 14 days. And how many sprints do we want to have for this discussion? Now, let's say we just want to use 2 or 3 sprints to discuss about this. So that's going to be 2 weeks, and another 2 weeks if it's going to be 3 sprints. So this is going to be the time whereby we're going to identify all our dependencies. We need to identify if you're doing any integration. We need to get in contact with other team, other departments that we need to do what to complete this project. So once you click on OK, and you come over here, you'll see that sprint 1, 2, 3 has been created. And the name of the sprint is what? Product discussion. Under the sprint, we can see all this information. We don't have any stories yet under the sprint. It is the Scrum Master that is going to add stories into that sprint. For the dev team, let's say we want to create a sprint, which is going to call development phases. It's also going to be 2 weeks. I think we identify our first release to be 4 months, and we have 4 weeks in every month. 4 months is 16 weeks, and if you take it by 2, that's going to be 8. So we'll have 8 sprints within that 4 months. So this are the sprint, and they're what they've been created. Now, if we go to our Agile board, we'll see as the Scrum Master, I say you do not have any backlogs. Ask your product owner to share a backlog with you. And for the sprint planning, we can only see that the Scrum Master is only in the Scrum Master group, the Agile Scrum Master group. So the Scrum Master will only be able to see any sprint that is under this particular group only. So let's try to get some backlogs in, and also make sure that we have our Scrum Master in all the groups that we've created, so that they can have access to do what? To plan those stories in those groups. I'll hand the impersonation now. Let me impersonate the product owner. Then I'll go ahead to create personal backlogs. Now, I don't have any kind of backlogs now, so I'll just go ahead and create one. We'll name it employee order. So that's going to be the backlog. And anything that has to do with backlogs goes on this table, the story table. We can say that we can't edit it, we can't change it, because that is what is meant to be on. Let's say for these backlogs, you only want a particular person or people to see it, or a group. You can set that over here, and it's only going to be visible to those individuals or that group. So we said the task type is going to be story, and active is true. If any story is not true, like it has been completed and it's not yet active, you won't see it in the backlogs. I'll go ahead and add one condition just to make sure that the backlog is being filtered well. I'm going to add product is what? Employee order. Then I'll click on submit. So my backlog has been created like that. So if you go to our backlogs, so you can see all those stories in here, which are what? Under the employee portal. but we know that this is the product owner which created the story or the backlogs, and that's the reason why they're seeing it. And we remember that in the previous our interface, when we are impersonating the Scrum Master was not able to see to see all the stories or to see the backlogs. So I'll go ahead now and add the Scrum Master to this group. Oh, the product owner cannot do that. So the Scrum Master. So this will enable the Scrum Master to be able to do what? To plan the sprint in this group. Okay. Let's bring the PO. Agile Scrum Master. Okay, so we've added the Scrum Master in this group, so it should be good like that. Impersonate. Let me add them to this usable too. Oh, the Scrum Master already has that role, so we don't even need to add them. The PO doesn't need it, so impersonate the Scrum Master. So if the Scrum Master goes back to the Agile board, so click on so they can see the sprint for that group, but it's not able to see the backlog yet. So we need to do what? We need to debug that. So let's go back. No, that's a personal product owner.
Yeah, you can try to include visibility to that group and then visibility to see. That should be, well
Uh,
done. You
where's
said it
that?
was Scrum group or Scrum Master or whatever.
What's the name of my group? Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna make it visible to Agile Developer and the Agile Scrum Master. Agile Scrum Master. So once I click on Update and I impersonate the Scrum Master back,
Check and see if the visibility showed. I don't think it was seen properly, but just in case, check.
okay. So now as the Scrum Master, oh, thank you. As the Scrum Master, you see now that we are able to see all the stories that is pertaining to this product. Now, if we go to sprint planning and we go under the Agile developers, we know that this is the first phase, which is the development phase 1. The stories should be showing under the backlog here. because it is when the story shows under these backlogs, then you can just move them up here. So let me go ahead and just check that. Let's go on product release. We have our stories and okay. Maybe I need to put a visibility. Yeah, Agile developers are there.
You can check if you can edit the sprint. So you said sprint is empty or it's not empty or whatever. So if you can be specific and take out that one and then see if it will show. Yeah.
Let's try this.
So, so go to the backlog for planning. You try to do that. You can use this record or use this, and then let's see. We should be able to and then use that and see. Are there no stories there? If they are not,
No.
then
Yeah, the stories are not there. So
okay.
but we can see
So
them showing up Agile PO, so he doesn't have access to that, so he won't be able to see it. Okay, let me try as an admin and let's see.
as the admin, if the admin doesn't belong to any of those groups, the admin wouldn't be able to, get any work done in the Agile. But you can add them to one of those your groups, like the groups you created. Yeah, the admin should now have the rights to be able to deliver on that.
Or probably let me add more.
What you might do would be,
More filter.
yeah, on the product, try and include the filters too.
Okay, don't let me use this. I'll use sprint. I'll take it back to it's empty, and let me use epic. So one of our epic is IT catalog item,
Okay.
or epic is HR catalog item. Then this visibility, let me try to add more. PO and so we'll click on update. Then impersonate our Scrum Master back. Agile Bird. Yeah, the stories are showing here. Let's check one of those stories. Maybe we don't have it here.
You don't have it on
We
your
don't have
group
it
yet,
here.
so it's not
Yeah,
assigned to any
it's
group
not
yet. So
assigned to any group. So
Yeah.
Agile developers.
Uh,
So
do it
if
from the story
yeah,
list. If you can go to the story list, try and add them to the go to the story
yeah,
list and add them to the product or to the group or whatever. So that way they can. Yeah, story list.
so the reason why we were not seeing it because those stories has not been added to an assignment group yet. So I'll go ahead now and assign all these to the Agile developer. These things are sometimes annoying. Okay, so we've updated all this. So if go back to the Scrum Master, who's going to have to add them to a sprint and start the sprint. So we can see them in the sprint backlog. So if we go over here, so we'll see that we are able to see all the stories, and the Scrum Master can go ahead and add those stories into the sprint. Now, let's say we want to add just 4 stories into the sprint. So we have 3 stories in our sprint 1, which is the development phase. Now, the the Scrum Master can decide to, depending on if they already have everything it takes and know what they needed, they can add all the stories to all the sprints, so they can know these are the numbers of stories we are going in the sprint. Now, but just for a quick one, this 3 sprint has been added, and the Scrum Master can go ahead and start the sprint. And also on this Agile board, you can also what, create sprint or create story, or you can also create an epic from this Agile board. So let's go ahead and start the sprint. And there's one more thing we need to do. In our stories, we need to put a story point. We need to put a story point. Depend on the complexity of that story. That is what you use to award the award of point. So we need to put a story point. And under our groups as well, I need to also show us this. There is something called group capacity. During the sprint, you need to know what your group capacity is. That means that it's going to determine the amount of workload that they can take on. But before you determine this group capacity, you need to be able to do what? To know the numbers of our employees that has time off, factor all the meetings you'll be having in that 2-week sprint. So you need to factor all this. Then the available hours is going to be what you're going to put as your group capacity, because sometimes you might have several meetings in a week, and which is going to take out of your 8 hours. Sometimes you might have PTO or doctor's appointment. You need to also factor that in the group capacity so that the group is not going to take on more work than what they can finish. So for the developers, let's put our group capacity as 150. And for this our story, let's assign them a point. We can just give this 3 points. So our story has point now. Now, if you're looking at these 3 stories, we'll see that we have 13 points in total. 0 is done and 13 is left. Now, on the tracking page, this is where you can track how stories are being completed. Everything is still in a draft state because they are just defined and they haven't started working on them. We should have put these stories back to ready. And the good thing about this is that once you move these swim lanes, it's going to change the states. And you can also assign. We have a Scrum team member. That is the only user we have in our group, which is the developer Agile developer team. So this is ready to start working on. So let's say the first one you want to work on is this mega menu configuration. You can just put it in work in progress. So whenever the Scrum Master comes to this board, the Scrum Master can see what work is being worked on, which is going to be work in progress. They can see which one is in what ready for testing. Ready for testing means that what the developer has already completed the development and is ready for testing. Whenever a QA picks it up, like a tester, and they've started doing their testing, they will move the card and put it to what? Testing. And once it passes testing, then they can move it to do what? To complete. We have 3 ways of tracking, which is this is the storyboard. You have the task board view, which is more like the storyboard one, but there has a swim lane. And you also have the list view. And also, I want us to know under the story, we can also create Scrum tags. This Scrum tags, it can just be, let's say, the list of the things you want to do. Develop. That is going to be the coding one. You click on submit. You can do this to be for testing. So these are just like a to-do list for you to do. So once the story is being tested and everything passed, you can just go ahead and update these Scrum tags. Testing, does it pass? Does it fail? If you can do the pass, then you update it, then you move it to do what? You move it to complete. The development too, before you start testing, that means you've developed the code and the code is working. Completed, you put it here and it moves to what? To complete. So these are one of the advantage of this board is that whenever you move the cards among the lanes, it automatically what? Updates the ticket. Now, we've completed just one. Let's say we've completed two. We've completed two stories, and we have come to the end of the sprint. We see that 10 is completed and 3 is left. That is our what? Our story point. So as the Scrum Master, if you click on this complete sprint, it's going to tell you that 2 stories were complete, 0 were cancelled, and you have 1 that is incomplete. Now, it's going to ask you what you want to do. Do you want to move it to the backlog, or you want to move it to the next sprint? If you move it to the backlog, the story is going to go back to the backlog. But if you move it to the next sprint, it's going to go to what? To the next sprint. So on this sprint 2 now, you will see that the story that wasn't done in the first sprint has been added to sprint 2. And the sprint 1 is over, is gone. So during this, the Scrum Master will be able to do what? To manage the product and make sure that what all the stories are assigned to sprint and all the stories are being completed according to what? To the epic. And once a story that is under an epic has been completed, then you can close that epic and you can move it to what? To release. So do we have any question? I know our time is fast spent. I apologize about that. Do we have
Thank you,
any
thank you
questions?
so much. Thank you so much, Jay, for sharing that. So there's no question in the chat, but feel free to, go ahead and ask your question. Um, a great presentation. I don't see any questions in the chat. But one thing is for sure is this is uh this is a good depth of knowledge being shared, especially regarding that agile development. I mean, it's really big. There's a lot of things as part of that strategic portfolio. There's a lot of aspects to it. This is just one portion. There's also that testing there. So I know we talked about it and even had a product deep dive about automated testing before. There's also project portfolio management, which is also part of those suite of capability. There's also IT finance, which is part of that project. It's also part of strategy. So financial planning and things like that. Not talk of resource management, or which is talking about time cards and resource allocation, looking for employees, whether it's contingents or full-time staffs, FTEs. So it's a host of things that can be done within that SPM. But this is just a great deal of information on that agile development for managing projects or managing product releases into company's environment. Sure. The recording will be available in a couple of minutes once we end this call. Well, great delivery, yeah.
Yeah. And the thing there is that whether you are a ServiceNow administrator or you are a developer or you are a BA, there is no company you're gonna go to that you will not need this Agile, because everything that has been done is what are projects, and they use what Agile. It might not be ServiceNow Agile development. It can be Jira. It can be Rally, but you will come across this in every organization. So it's a very good one that you can go back to the product documentation and read about it and get more knowledge, because I know these 2 hours might not be able to summarize everything. But if you go back to the product documentation and you read it, you'll be able to have more in-depth understanding about it. Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll go
everyone. Thank
sharing.
you, Shay, for your time, for sharing your experience, sharing the journey. A couple of minutes, the videos will come out. So download them, play them. We would also share Shay's contact so that you can connect with them. So very important. The whole idea is to continue to engage with the tool, reach out to practitioners, so that we can help you, whatever you need. Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon. All right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.